What up? It's me again, and I still don't have a backdrop, but I do have a light and a camera stand, so here we go. I hope that you've been enjoying our videos. We have some amazing things coming up. We went to St. Simon's and we went to Atlanta before Christmas to cover the Mary Fagin, Leo Frank murders, so that will be a good one, but editing is a process, so just wait and see. So today I'm going to talk about something that I find very interesting. It's not really something that I talk about a lot just because it's such a... Everyone is into cults now. Everybody is into serial killers and cults and blah, blah, blah. Many of us have always been interested in that, but it's very in vogue right now to be discussing these topics. When I was little, I went to a camp in North Georgia, and we were pretty certain that it was next to a cult. So let me tell you about this cult. It was known as the Tomato Farm, and this is in the North Georgia mountains, so we're almost to Tennessee at this point. The cult itself was not labeled as such. It actually had a statue of Jesus at the front, and Jesus was holding a golf bag on his back full of golf clubs, and he was surrounded by lions, you know, like those lions that gatekeep rich people's property, and they were painted with polka dots. Me being a 10-year-old getting dropped off to camp, I would always pass by that on our way. I'd be like, Mom, look at that weird stuff, because it was this large gate and it had the polka dot lions and the golf bag Jesus, and it was just like, hey, we're here to party. So we'd pass by for a few years and not really think anything of it, except that it was a little odd. It wasn't very settled. It was lots of woods and mountains, and so, you know, it's a good place for a camp. There was a gate as well, and there was a sign out front that said the garden. Years go by, I go to camp every summer for 10 years. Me and my friends, we start to talk about how we always noticed how stupid it looks. So we get a little bit older, and I think we're about 15 or 16 years old at this point. We're counselors in training, CITs. We are chilling in the CIT trailer, having a good time. We decided to go on a walk in the woods. We're in the woods and we're kind of close to the border between the properties. And we see this CD player. We see this CD in the woods, and it's all dirty. It's back when we used CDs. Put them in our Discman. We grab the CD, and it's a burned CD. And in Sharpie on the CD, it says, "The sun and the rain." So we're like, this is interesting. This being the early 2000s, we take the CD back to our trailer and we clean it off, and miraculously, it works. What we sit down and experience after that is something that I would describe as unique, also very strange for a 15-year-old who is just dipping her toe into things like cults and serial killers. I was always into ghost stories. So we listen to this CD, and describing it doesn't do it justice because it was the most bizarre thing. And to this day, I'm 32 and I've watched a lot of weird stuff on the internet over the years, and this is still one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen or heard. Without actually playing the CD for you, I just want to describe a little bit of what this guy was talking about. We start with some jazz. We start with some smooth jazz. After the jazz starts playing, we've got some smooth jazz going on. So we're like, okay, jazz CD. Then this man with a very strange accent comes on, and let's see. He almost sounded like Hannibal Lecter, but like Southern. He was very loud, and he enunciated like this. And he sounded like he was trying to lead a sermon. He starts talking, and here's some tidbits of what he was saying. This man was leading a group of people in North Georgia to something called the Fourth Dimensional Ascension Portal. He mentioned this portal quite a lot. He mentioned the portal being in the mountains of North Georgia and that he was going to lead his people there. He also made a lot of biblical references, including his wife, the Magdalene. He also has a raven named Nani. He says, my raven, Nani, hi, sweetie. I remember it so clearly. Hi, sweetie. So he's got this little, I guess it's his familiar. It's this little raven that just hangs out. Nani was one of her favorites. So he goes on and he starts to talk about how he actually is Jesus Christ himself, not the raven. The raven's just his little buddy. He starts to talk about how the people in North Georgia like don't know what's up and they don't know what's about to hit them. He starts the tape very calm and, you know, jazzy, because the entire time, and he even says it, he says, we're about to overlay some San Francisco jazz 1, 2, 3. He said it just like that. And so the entire tape is him talking about how he's Jesus and all this metaphysical stuff. And the whole time some jazz is playing over it. Really likes jazz, I guess. Also, I just bought this palette today, this Revolution palette. It's called Euphoria. And I don't really do eyeshadow a lot, so I'm gonna play around with it. There's like 5 of us, 15-year-old girls, just listening to this recording. Our counselor, she's like, guys, y'all need to chill. Y'all are gonna get brainwashed. And we're like, no, we're fine, we're fine. And then we all rip the CD and we all take it home and we copy it to our iTunes. And there's only a couple of us. My best, oldest, dearest friend, Lauren, she had a copy of it and I had a copy of it, and then a handful of other girls had a copy of it. Shout out to all of you. If you still have the recording, please let me know, because mine is long gone. All I have left are the memories. We start to listen to this in our Discmans by ourselves, which is definitely a recipe for brainwashing. We basically got this thing memorized. The place next door grew tomatoes as well, so we called it the Tomato Farm Cult. I don't even think I ever actually saw any tomatoes over there. So we get really into this thing. We're like checking it out. We're going into the woods, and every time we go into the woods, we're trying to go deeper and deeper so that we can find stuff. And one time we crossed the property line in the woods and we saw these things, like we saw a ritual circle, and it was filled with like gnomes and stuff. And then one night we watched from the woods when it was dark, and there were people just like moving around, and there were torches and stuff. Oh my God. What if it wasn't a cult? I don't know. I can't remember what this guy's name was. I mean, he said he was Jesus, but he also had a personal name. He was like an incarnation of Jesus. And he kept talking about the 4th dimensional essential portal. And he kept talking about jazz, and he kept talking about his raven. At camp, you don't have much technology. You just have your books and your CD players. And this is early 2000s, so even less technology than we would have now. So I get home from camp and I do a little internet research, and I end up finding this man online. I'm so sad because I can't find this website anymore. It was an amazing website because it was one of those really like early 2000s tacky websites with different font colors and font sizes. And there were no separate pages. It was just one long, big page. And there was a picture of this man. He was an old white guy. And he was sitting on a throne, and he was doing one of those like hand symbols, hand gestures. He was wearing robes, and there were badly photoshopped lasers coming out of his eyeballs. And then further down the page was his wife, decked out the same way. And she had lasers coming out of her eyeballs. This page, like, I'm in grad school and I read some long, boring papers. This webpage was so long, it was just gibberish. I mean, it was in English, but it just kept going on about stuff about Jesus and stuff about jazz music, and then stuff about metaphysical things that I do not understand. And it was just warping it all together. And basically, this cult was kind of like Heaven's Gate in that they were talking about ascending together. So they were going to go somewhere else. They were going to leave this world and they were going to move on and be with Jesus at a jazz concert or whatever. I'm really bad at putting fake eyelashes on. Don't judge me. While I'm blowing on my eyelash, have any of y'all listened to the most recent last podcast on the left where they're doing March Madness and Casey Anthony has to fight Albert Fish? I was screeching. This is so stupid. I'm a lot more used to doing like makeup effects and stuff, and I'm thinking of doing a Black Dahlia tutorial. Oh God, why? Right now I'm making a list of every scary movie ever made. You'd be surprised that like there is no definitive list. You go on different websites and they'll give you totally different movies. They'll have the standards. Some of them are missing some very popular ones. Like they won't have like Midsummer or Hereditary on there. And I'm like, those are modern classics, dude. I'm just going to a trapeze photo shoot, so they're not going to notice my eyelashes. I'm trying to look like I'm in the circus because I'm literally in the circus. If anybody out there is actually watching this, drop your most obscure horror or scary movie that you've ever seen, and I want to see if it's on the list, because as of now, I have 9-point font, 0.2-inch margins on a Word document with 3 columns, and I have 11 pages of movies. So that's about 2,000 titles. And this includes like sequels and stuff, because we all know horror is just like sequel, sequel, sequel. All the obscure lists like 50 best slasher movies you've never seen and blah, blah, blah.
You're gorgeous.
Thanks. I watched this Shudder original last night called The Beach House. It was pretty good. Sometimes I have a pretty short attention span, so if I'm not really into something, I will ultimately stop watching it. But it pretty much held my attention. I mean, it was gross, which was, I don't normally watch body horror movies. I'm more of a ghost stories girl, but this was nasty. It was nasty, just like my eye. That's what reminded me of it. The monsters that were spreading the toxin in the air, they looked like big fat pot stickers. Oh my God. This is... whatever. I mean, it's from... It is what it is. Back to the cult story. We can never find any information on this dude or his wife or his raven besides that website. Like, we would ask people around, and I don't know if the adults at camp were trying to keep a secret from us or if they really just didn't know. Nobody had any idea what we were talking about, and we were like, it's on a website. But I mean, anybody can make a website. That's how cults are. They just pop up out of nowhere and then they're gone. You can roast me in the comments about how bad I suck at eyelashes. Okay. What was I doing? It's really bothering me that I can't remember this guy's name though. Ooh, also, I live in Athens, Georgia. When I was little, I remember passing by one of the main roads in town. There was this Egyptian mural on an old building with no windows. And I just found out like 2 weeks ago that that's also a cult. Or it was shut down. I mean, there were some serious allegations going on, and I think some serious bad stuff happening there. That mural is gone, and now it's an adorable children's bookstore and a bagel shop. Sinister beginnings of that piece of property. I mean, you really never know. I used to go to the beach in Tampa, and I didn't even realize until I was an adult that that is the Scientology capital. I thought the Scientology capital would be LA, honestly, because there's a lot of actors that I find out they're into Scientology, and I'm like, ugh, yikes. It's not that it's because I carry crystals in my pocket, very earthy in my spirituality. But the thing about Scientology is that it's just so exploitative, you know? There's some other beliefs that are very personal, and I don't care what you do on your own time, but Scientology, not a fan. Y'all, can you recommend me a good black lipstick? Because I just can't. I'm trying to think if there are any other cults in this town. Well, there's tons of fraternities. There's the cult of sports. This is not cute. When I was a little girl, I wrote a poem and drew a picture right beside it. And it was a bride and a groom. And on the first page, they were getting married. And the second page, the bride was in a coffin. And the poem went, yesterday I was married. Today I was buried. This might look better on camera, I don't know. And I'm also super, I'm super self-conscious. That's even worse. What do you expect from Wet n Wild? Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. It's not like I have super bougie taste. It's just, I am alone. I am utterly alone. By the time you read this, I will be gone. Who do you think would win in a fight between Beetlejuice and Candyman? Candyman is a lot scarier than Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice is crazy. He's nuts. You know what? Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. There, I did it. If you don't get another video from me, you know what happened. So this has been a lot of empty footage today of me just like figuring my life out. Because not only did I do black lipstick, but I also did fake eyelashes, which I'm so bad at. Oh my God, stop. I don't really have an end to it. It wasn't like one day I met the guy that was the cult leader of the Jesus Golf Bag, Polka Dot Lion, Tomato Farm jazz cult. I really, really would like to see if anybody out there has any information on this guy in North Georgia. If you're one of my homies that I went to camp with and you're watching this, send me that file so I can dig deeper, because that thing was 45 minutes long. And I remember some parts of it crystal clear, but most of it I've forgotten. He sang too. Oh God, what did he sing? And Jesus will weep. He had that like Baptist preacher enunciation where at the end of every sentence he was like, be praised, Jesus, God in heaven, and the God will. God, that hurts. It sucked to be a preacher. I mean, like a scary preacher. We're still not sure why the tape was called The Sun and the Rain either. He would go back and forth between singing over the jazz and talking over the jazz. And then at the end of the tape, he got very aggressive and started yelling. And that's when it got less interesting, because he was a lot more fun when he was just talking about his raven. Shaman of the shaman, as well as Mr. JC. JC stands for Jesus Christ. Oh my God, here's another song that he sang. Thank you for coming today. I know this is all over the place, but that's the magic of editing. So make sure to stay tuned. We have more videos coming up of Heather, our medium, talking about mediumship and questions about mediumship. We have some excellent episodes coming out, more on our travels to Augusta, which was last September, and our Leo Frank excursion to Atlanta and Marietta. Also, we have some treats with St. Simon's. It was so much fun. It was so gorgeous. And we met some of the coolest people, including Larry. You'll see what I'm talking about. Shout out to Susan in Augusta for being the sweetest person alive and helping us with our research and just being all around awesome. We love you, Susan. Like and subscribe to this. I'm just a fool who likes creepy stuff, so Don't be mean about it. I'm sure one of you is going to be like, oh my God, you suck. And be like, do you know how many times I've heard that in my life? It doesn't bother me, honey. XOXO Gossip Ghoul, I love you so much. Go read a ghost story. Go interview a cult leader. I don't know. Just be safe about it. You know, just be like, keep your distance, especially because of COVID. By the time I see you next time, I'll have my second shot. Bye.